Happy Thursday. It is the Prop Queen, Ariel Epstein. Sorry, I'm a little late today. Crazy week. So shout out to everyone over at The Ringer, including Bill Simmons. That was freaking awesome. I'll get to that story in a second, but I've been waiting to break that news since March. It's been a crazy few months and a crazy couple days because I can't believe that deal got done literally at the last second, but here we are. The Prop Queen Pod, though, lives on. It is not going anywhere. The Prop Queen Pod is here to stay, and there's more. There's more, but we don't know yet. So, yeah, thanks, Chauncey Bradby, for tuning in. The earpiece. Oh, God, I'll get to that, too. Today on the show, Tom Vecchio going to break down the NFL card. We're going to talk TNF props for tonight. We're going to talk NFL props for the weekend. I've got Major League Baseball prop edges as well. Of course, Thursday Night Football edges. Tomorrow will be the day. So Thursday we'll focus Thursday Night Football. Mondays will be like recap of the weekend and Monday Night Football. But Fridays will be the day of props. Fridays will be when we talk all things looking ahead to Sunday. And Mid-Major Matt comes on to break down college football as well on Fridays. So a lot going on with football season starting. I'm super pumped about it. We've got 3 NFL props for tonight on the card. I gave them out this morning in the premium subscription for the propqueen.com newsletter. Tom_Vecchio joining with NFL props at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Talking about my first day at the Ringer. Plus the earpiece fiasco. Okay, and then, of course, because I can't plan, I wanted to get on air, edges at 5:45 p.m. Eastern time for NFL MLB. Okay, I'm ready. I swear I'm ready. NFL and MLB. You guys know, I just always tweet last minute, and I need to get things underway. It was a crazy day, and I have to upload graphics, which I guess I'll do more so when Tom's on. What do you guys like today, by the way? Eagles, Cowboys. I've got some sharp friends who really like the Cowboys tonight. I also have some people that are teasing down the Eagles. So a couple different ways to play that. I know that a lot of my friends are like thinking 8.5 is just a great number to take on Dallas in a divisional rivalry in game 1, but we'll see. Marley's sleeping. Here's what happened with the Ringer. So back in March, because John Yastrzemski had me on his Ringer podcast, New York. We did all like an MLB preseason breakdown. I randomly got this text, a DM from Bill Simmons. I'm like, Bill Simmons DMing me? That's so crazy. Like, and I was like, is this a real account? Is this a burner? When I've had the Ravens DM me, and that was really when I thought I was being like hacked. That was legit too. So Bill Simmons DMing me, I'm thinking like to JJ, hey, is this real? Is he hacked? No way. Then he texts me, he gets my number, Bill Simmons texts me, and he's asking me to join the Ringer. Thought it was such a cool opportunity, was really excited about it. Today was the day. Ringer podcast. We're doing the sports gambling podcast on Thursdays at noon Eastern time. So noon to 1. Very excited to be part of that team. That's going on for the rest of the year. So we gave out some stuff there at noon. But if you were not around for that, we've got you covered here on the Prop Queen Pod. Also, if you did tune in, you would have noticed that my earpiece broke mid-show because, of course, my earpiece breaks like in the middle of the show. So the entire time I'm like fixing my ear. It was not ideal, but my earpiece kept going in and out, so I couldn't hear the guys. The chat always distracts me. Yes, she does. What does this mean? What does that mean? Okay. Anyway, my earpiece was all messed up, and you guys want to talk Thursday Night Football, so we'll talk Thursday Night Football. Looking at the chat for what everybody likes, so we might as well get to propaganda to stop you guys from doing anything stupid. J Buff, nasty weather for tonight's NFL game. Okay, that makes me like one play I have a little bit more. My Saquon anytime touchdown happy hour bet hurts. Under completions, Lamb, Smith, Dak. You might be competing a little bit with Tom Vecchio later on. He's going to come on in about 8 minutes. Sports Guru is laying the 7 with the Eagles. Okay, so you got in on a good number. Like, it's good. Good for you. Thank you, Earl. But will Bill Simmons come on this pod? I could ask him, see if he has time. He's a very busy man. When NFL season dies down, I'll ask Bill. We'll see. Eagles money line and the under. Earl, Eagles money line. So did you parlay that? You parlayed Eagles money line in the under? Just Rodriguez likes Cowboys cover and Lamb anytime touchdown. J Main 34 from Philly. Cowboys plus 8.5. Devontae Smith, longest reception. Always a play, Lewis Creech. Good call. You see more ways that Philly covers than the Cowboys win. Let's see. 3 to 7 point game. Okay, so Brian thinks the Cowboys are going to cover. Miles Sanders revenge game. Thank you, AC Money. An under game too, if it's bad weather. Okay, so far getting from the chat what everybody likes. Yes, we will ask Tom. Mark, write it in the chat again when Tom comes back in like 7 minutes. Write it in the chat. Survivor. Survivor for touchdown survivor or regular survivor? Who am I picking for regular survivor? Eagles probably in one of them. I really don't want to pick Denver. I feel like everyone's going to pick Denver, and that kind of annoys me. My other theory about Survivor is I had at least 5 people message me saying that they aren't going to take the Bengals this year because the Bengals screwed them last year, which makes me just think that the Bengals are going to win this week. Obviously, they play the Browns, but just like a stupid thing. EC Money said he's betting the under. I will ask. Maybe we do like a comment section or something from the YouTube. Thank you. Don't be square. Phil minus 8.5. Let me see what the DK splits say on this game. And I think MGM splits were up too. Let's see what the splits are right now. So the splits for Thursday Night Football on DraftKings it's pretty close, honestly. There's not really a public side over at DraftKings. On DraftKings right now, you've got 50% handle on the Eagles minus 8.5 and 59% of bets. 50% handle on Cowboys plus 8.5, 41% of bets. It's not that public. Like, no one's really that public today, to be honest. Now that's public. We're going to get to propaganda in a second. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cowboys win. Cowboys backdoor cover is free. When will you be in Vegas? Hopefully never. Regular Survivor. Yeah, so I was saying for regular Survivor, I was talking about this with a friend, and I probably should have had my friend Chris on, but I'll ask Chris to come on next week and we could talk some regular Survivor. Let's see. Again, I said Eagles are a good play. I know a lot of people are going to be on Arizona. That's probably going to be second favorite to Denver. Denver and Arizona will definitely end up being like the top 3 most. So I would say Arizona, Denver, maybe Cincinnati, and Eagles. Honestly, I like Eagles best solely because I don't think they're going to be the most picked because it's Thursday Night Football. I think a lot of people are going to be on Denver this week. Like, everyone wants to fade the rookie quarterback. Everyone wants to fade the first round pick. Fade the public. Birds minus 8.5. Again, not that public. Arizona is the survivor pick. Yes, a lot of people also going to be on Arizona. I like Jacksonville this week, though, J Buff. I really do. It's actually probably my favorite side of the week is laying 3.5 with Jacksonville. Wish I could have got 3, but 3.5. Saquon, 2 TDs and 100+. You're insane, Matt Reichel. You are insane, man. I'm going to tell you why in a second. Cincinnati definitely winning this weekend. So is Arizona. I'm saying, like, I might. It's hard because you want to take Denver early, and I might take them in, like, 1 survivor. I'm in, like, 5 of them. But Eagles, Arizona, Cincinnati. I, like, just might zig when everyone zags on Cincinnati. I know it's hard because Joe Burrow sucks week 1, but, like, what Wow, you guys got a lot of stuff going on today. Eagles Hurts over 218.5 passing yards. We'll talk about that. Prescott under 248. I know, but I'm looking at the splits right now on DraftKings. It's pretty 50-50. Oh, goodness. What are we talking about with East Carolina? Called up Belichick out PQ. Last week, he confirmed he's a bad coach without Brady. Oh, God. You're taking East Carolina. Great. Taking me back to my North Carolina days. Too many Cowboys fans. That's why. Yeah, that's probably true. You love the Broncos. You laying it. You laying it or love them in Survivor. Anyone playing the Saints? God, that's a good tactic. Will there be a defensive touchdown? I don't know. Okay. Thanks, guys, for reposting the stream, by the way. Please repost, like on YouTube, share, subscribe. It means a lot. Tom Vecchio is in the building, so let's bring Tom on, and then we'll get to propaganda, and then we'll talk some other NFL and MLB edges of the day. So let's bring on the great, the awesome, and he's going to help us with our touchdown survivor pool. It is Tom Vecchio. Happy NFL season, Tom.
Thanks for having me, and congrats on the Ringer news. That's absolutely awesome.
Thank you. I am excited. When you go through the day-to-day, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a really long day. So when I have a glass of wine later, I think I'll appreciate it at that point in time. But I'm going to appreciate you every time that you're on. The chat is absolutely loving Saquon today, of course. People are taking Dak under passing yards, Jalen Hurts over passing yards. And no one's really mentioning what we like today. So that's a good start for us. Let's start with what you like. So you're actually going Dak over, and I had to spell a typo because I'm rushing, of course.
Okay.
Dak Prescott over 36.5 pass attempts. So he's going to throw a lot?
Yeah, the Cowboys are going to be throwing a lot the entire year. So, on a game like tonight, could I see Dak going under his yards? But, when we look at the Cowboys running back room, even if you just look at Javonte Williams' rushing prop, he's their starting running back, and he's listed at 33 yards. Like, Javonte Williams is a replacement level running back. He's not good. It's him, it's Miles Sanders, and it's the rookie Jadon Blue. And like, a lot of people are hyped about Jadon Blue, long term, but it's not like they're going to give him 20 carries. So the Cowboys defense was average with Micah Parsons. It's now below average. They're in a passing game script as they're 8.5-point dogs. It was 6.5 just a couple of weeks ago. The Cowboys are going to be playing from behind. So if we have replacement level running backs and a rookie, and now we have a team playing from behind, what does that mean? It just means that they're going to throw a ton. So I know a lot of people have these negative, I don't want to say thoughts, but like they have like this negative narrative that they put out there about the Cowboys that like they can't win. Like if Dak plays the entire season, he's going to throw for over 4,000 yards. He's going to have like 580 to 600 passing attempts, and he's going to average 35 to 40 per game. So if they're playing from behind, they have two awesome receivers on the outside. Dak's just going to throw the ball. Who cares if there's inefficiency at some level? The volume will be there.
On FanDuel, 7-1, second shortest odds behind Joe Burrow to lead the NFL in passing yards for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, they're going to play from behind a ton.
Makes
The
sense.
Cowboys are going to be a team that when at the end of the season and as we look over rolling, 3-5 game stretches, they will be at the higher end of plays run per game, because when you run a lot of pass plays, you can obviously, there's going to be a ton of incompletions, and they're inefficient at running the ball. It means that they're not going to be bleeding the clock. That means there's going to be a ton of passing attempts time and time again.
Okay, I like it. I always love taking pass attempt props over week one, because I think we end up with these quarterbacks in the 40s at the end of the year. The early weeks of the NFL season, you're able to get these really good numbers on quarterbacks that do tend to throw the football a lot.
They tend to throw the football, like the entire game script sets up. If you're down by 8.5 points, if the Eagles are coming, that's 2 scores. You have to throw the ball to catch up. That's just a fact in the NFL, combined with the fact that they're going to be down because of the bad defense, and they have a terrible running back room. Like, people need to get away from Javonte Williams. Like, a 33.5 prop for a starting running back in the NFL.
And it's dropping. It was 34.5 yesterday.
Either A, the books don't know. They're actually uncertain about what his role will be, or they're literally not going to be able to run it against a good defense. They just have to pass the ball. So I've seen a lot of people talk about the Cowboys almost being matchup proof, where like theoretically, even if they were against whatever team ends up being the best defense, the volume will be there. Like CeeDee Lamb could still see 10 targets against the best corners because they have to.
The only thing that scares me about the Javonte Williams call, because I actually was looking at the under. It was very low.
Yeah.
And I've also seen that he's done better. He's done okay, like back to last year. I know it was a different offense. He did okay last year against top run Ds, and I don't mean well. I just mean well regarding his like prop.
Right.
And he did okay in week ones, and it tells me they're not worried about Javonte Williams. So why not just play in zone or something like defending the receivers as opposed to worrying about stacking the box?
There's a portion that can be like that. You can take that as a portion of the play. Like there's also just the fact that like he's not a long-term running back for them. So if they just want to give him carries just because they want to run him out there and they need literally a body out there to move the chains and average like 2.4 yards per attempt, which is horrible. Like they could just throw him out there because they have nothing to lose. It's not like he's some prized running back that they don't want to get banged up. It's like, okay, if it happens, whatever.
Dak Prescott going to throw the football a lot tonight, according to Tom.
Yeah.
Then the receivers. So you like Devontae Smith over 53.5 receiving yards.
Yeah.
It is always so difficult for me to choose receivers, especially when you're going between 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
How did you come to Devontae Smith?
So AJ Brown has been through our training camp. He was dealing with a hamstring injury, and he did get back to practice in full, dating back to the middle of last week. But it was still something that was hampering him. And when you are, it's like Chase and Higgins to an extent in Cincinnati. Obviously, Chase is better. We all know that. But at the end of the day, they are roughly the same. It's not like we're dealing with a guy up at 80 and a guy down at 20. It's like, okay, he's like 60 and 50, 80 and 60, whatever it might be. I just like the role that Smith plays. If they're going to put him in the slot a little bit, I think that's fine. Jahan Dotson will certainly be out there. Grant Calcaterra is wide receiver 2 behind Dallas Goedert. So, there's a lot of options in play. But when we have a receiver that we know is healthy, who had a great target share last year, 9.0 ADOT average of the target, he can get downfield quickly. So, I like it.
We've got questions in the chat before we move on to the weekend. So, Mark wants to know, who do you like for longest touchdown for week 1? And do you like Dotson 60+ receiving yards?
I wouldn't love Dotson.
That's an insane number. I have him over 7.5, and we're going to talk about it later.
So longest TD, I always have a little piece, or I have a piece of DK for this week, which DK Metcalf does. I wouldn't mind that. Marvin Harrison wouldn't surprise me. Mike Williams is always good. Not Mike Williams, excuse me. Mike Evans is always good for long TD, especially against in-division rivals. Tyreek, Waddle, all those guys would be in play.
Then AJ, 70 or more yards, just Rodriguez wants to know?
That's the one I'm a little bit hesitant about because of the hamstring. Where if you told me 8, he finished with 4 or 5 catches for 50 yards, maybe even a touchdown. But then Smith has 50 or 60. Dallas Goedert has some. Saquon's doing his thing. I see it as a well-rounded offense. So I'm a little bit hesitant on A.J. Brown, and I will say I am very high on him. He's on my most important dynasty team. So I would love for him to do well tonight. But the hamstring first game back, it's just a little wary to me.
Oh, boy. Game leaders for tonight. Dak, CD Barkley, plus 350 on DK.
I mean, that honestly seems like the chalk, but it does seem pretty solid. And this is in terms of passing, receiving, and rushing, where, again, Dak should be throwing the ball more than Jalen Hurts. The game script sets up for that with them as 8.5-point underdogs. So Dak throwing the ball, regardless of how good he is, interceptions, touchdowns, doesn't matter. If he can throw for 280 yards, that's not Hurts' style. They don't have him throw for nearly 300 yards. Dak doing that. If he's going to be throwing for a ton of yards, the majority of them should be going to CD. And then if that's happening, it's likely because they're playing from behind. Therefore, the Eagles are in a spot to run the ball. So I don't love the odds, but I do think that is a very realistic possibility.
If you aren't so high on AJ, how willing are you to take an under?
I would take an under. And again, this is literally specific to me because, again, I have AJ Brown on my most important dynasty team. I often take unders on all my players just because either A, I win the bet, or B, if they go over, it means I'm having a good week and they're doing well. So it's an emotional hedge for my own happiness. So I often do bet under AJ Brown receiving, Xavier Worthy. I just drafted Genti in a rookie draft on Monday night. So I'd be willing to take unders on them because if I win the bet, awesome. And then if they go over that, AJ Brown having 80+ yards is great.
CeeDee Lamb, he's, I think, like third in the odds this season to lead the NFL in receiving yards. How much are you willing to put money on CeeDee Lamb?
I think that's honestly a great option. And when you look back at CeeDee Lamb's game log from last year, I would be willing to throw out basically everything after Dak wasn't there. And a lot of people are looking back at the game from last year, beginning in November when they played the Cowboys, and Cooper Rush was the quarterback. So let's put an asterisk on that. Like, that doesn't, like, I don't care if he was awesome in the game, terrible in the game. It's not Dak. And when Dak was the quarterback last year, CeeDee Lamb was averaging 10.5 or 10.6, whatever his targets per game. He throws the ball to Lamb. Like, they have a very condensed target tree. It's going to be CeeDee Lamb, it's going to be George Pickens, it's going to be some of Turpin, some of Jake Ferguson, and that's really it. So when they throw the ball, if they're playing from behind, I would be willing to go to CeeDee, especially the fact that you're getting even money on CeeDee Lamb over 6.5 receptions.
Let's get to Tom's card for this upcoming weekend. Before we even get to the other ones, McBride is one you've already mentioned on the show. Like a week ago, you brought up McBride to score a touchdown, which, by the way, on my touchdown survivor pool on Splash, I'm going to play a McBride touchdown solely for you.
Oh, I love that. Again, this is a player last year who had a nearly 30% target share and a 32% red zone target share. He went nearly all of last season without scoring. He scored in the final 2 weeks receiving wise. Again, he had a rushing touchdown literally before he had a receiving touchdown. But Trey McBride is awesome. Going to DK Metcalf. When we look at the Steelers, no one's going to compete with DK Metcalf for actual targets in their offense. And, this I mentioned, longest reception this week, I should say, for week one. Like, DK Metcalf is that player that has a high ADAT, high air yards, can always break off these big catches, and it's 54.5. They brought him in and extended him, and they're going to throw him the ball. Again, there's no one on the Steelers that should really take targets away from DK Metcalf. And it's kind of the same thing with Steph Diggs. Like, they got him, they paid him. He looks good in training camp. I know he didn't play in the preseason, but the matchup
not worried about any kind of injury problem?
No, I'm not worried about Diggs not injury with that. He should be the dominant-ish guy in New England, and I'm really expecting Drake May to take a big step forward this year. Like, I think the Pats are in for a pretty solid year, and more importantly, the matchup is awesome because the Raiders have one of the worst cornerback and secondary groups in the league. There's no reason that I wouldn't take the Pats. It was a 2.5 on the spread. I'm not going to say I love the Pats, in terms of like a survivor thing, but I think they're in for a really good year. Just the talent increase that we've seen in New England in the offseason, overall, players want to play for Vrabel. Like, they're going to have a good year.
Vrabel came out with Morgan Wallen at Gillette. He is embracing it. He's ready to go. Hey, listen, I like Vrabel much better anyway as a head coach, and I think that's going to be really beneficial for the defense and for Drake May, just for being able to get some energy and some tough, hard-nosed football the way we see it in Detroit.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of people are talking about just year over year, the raw talent increase from last year to this year is great. I've seen a lot of people taking New England to make the playoffs. You're not going to put them in a spot to win the division over Buffalo, but I would say that they're better than the Dolphins. In terms of the wild card, I think they have a real shot to do it, and they have a really favorable schedule.
This prop's so interesting that Boise's saying Daniels under 2.5 touchdowns versus the Giants. This is the sharpest, this is the biggest Joes versus pros versus Joes, whatever game of the week, according to at least my friend John Murray over at the Superbook, according to people at FanDuel, DraftKings. The sharp money has been on the Giants for weeks, maybe even months. Why is everybody liking the Giants, and why are we fading Jaden Daniels?
So I saw the Giants. It was at 6.5. The spread was a couple weeks ago in August when I was doing the show.
7 months ago.
And I remember saying, vividly, if it moves to 7.5, I will absolutely be on the Giants. And it moved the other way. The Giants have a really good defensive line, really good. And, the team overall may not be amazing, but when you have that much talent up front that can put pressure on the quarterback, that's one piece. But the next piece, but when you look at Commanders overall, like I know some people are taking the under on their wins and are essentially buying into the narrative that, was last year kind of like a flash in the pan. But, you almost don't have Terry the entire training camp. You trade away a running back. Granted, it's just a running back. It's not a major thing, but the offense isn't amazing. It really isn't. A lot of people are calling it a one-man show. Outside of Terry McLaurin, that passing offense is not great. They also have one of the oldest rosters in the league. So when you're looking at a running back room, a lot of people are high on Bill Krosky, Merrick, Austin Eckler still there. Chris Rodriguez is there. Like, it's kind of all over the place. It's like, was last year a fluke? And in terms of like a fluke being on the right side of things compared to, are they actually good? And that's what we're going to find out this year. Also, their record last year in one score games was 7-2 or 8-2, when it was like, you're constantly getting lucky. The coin's going to flip against you at some point. So people buy into, like, I don't want to say an upstart Giants team, but like a really underrated defensive line, I'm not surprised by.
4.5 win total is crazy for the Giants. Kind of disrespectful for the way the defense looks.
They do have the hardest strength of schedule, though.
Yeah, the Giants. It is a brutal schedule.
And a very tough division.
They definitely got better than last year. And maybe they'll be in games, just not a playoff.
I think they are very...
A lot of people expecting the Giants to be the Patriots of last year over the Bengals.
Sure. I would say that, like, the Giants will cover X amount more games this year. I'm not going to say they're going to win more games, but I think they'll play better.
Be in it. It won't be a complete embarrassment.
Right.
We still have Major League Baseball, and I know I didn't ask you this before the show. Anything on the slate for tonight?
I'm pretty sure I didn't place a single MLB bet today. It was literally all football. Got some college in there. Like, I'm not the biggest college guy, so if I see anything, someone I respect, I'll tail them. More importantly, as I always say, like, use the boost, because that's really the time that I'm betting the most colleges, just using the promos, just because I'm not the biggest college fan.
You don't lose on the promos?
No, I know. Use the promos.
I'm saying, like, I feel like the promos. Oh, well, I guess it's like a promo, not a. Like, when you use a promo.
Yeah, it's like only, so like was it this week? Michigan, Oklahoma. Like, I will only bet games that have promos, I'm saying. Like,
so you don't, but they're not a sucker bet?
But if I'm just going to lay the points or take the points, I might as well take it at plus money.
I get it. No, I get what you're saying. I just always feel like those are such a jinx.
I mean, I don't think so. Like, I'm on the promos for tonight. What is it? The boost on, always use these boosts. Like, this is your only time to strike. Yeah, you're limited on it. But,
what did you see out there that you liked?
The TD jackpot on FanDuel. It's like player to have first or last TD. You get a share of that. So I took Will Shipley, the backup running back for the Eagles, because if it's a blowout, Saquon won't be playing and Will Shipley will be in there. So last TD for Will Shipley. One of the Saquon boosts for whatever is 80 plus yards, 90 plus yards are limited at a certain amount. The no sweat bet, like, you got to use all of these. Like, this is the time to strike. Like, I know they put these out there, and like the promos and boosts you get in week 13 are not going to be better than the ones you get in week 1.
That's true. No, they are trying to bait all of us into coming in. Come play with us. Like in The Shining. Come play with us. Seth says DK boosted Barkley anytime touchdown to plus 100.
You are, I forget what you're limited to on that. It's obviously different person to person. Called Shipley a few days ago, but like, you got to use the boost. Use the boost.
That's Tom Vecchio's advice for today and this weekend. Tom Vecchio, thank you as always for joining the show on this NFL opener. Good luck this season. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to get to propaganda. I'm sure some of you guys already bet some bad bets, so let's get to it. Propaganda. Okay, we've got two different things. One that are the most bet on props over at BetMGM, and the other that is the most bet on anytime touchdown props at BetMGM. This is all Thursday Night Football, of course. Starting with the most bet on props for tonight, Saquon Barkley, over 95.5 rushing yards. Surprise, surprise. Jahan Dotson, shit. Over 8.5 receiving yards. I didn't know that everyone caught on. I thought I was the only one that knew. Oh, no. Now I might have to change the best bet. Crap. George Pickens, over 53.5 receiving yards. Jake Ferguson, over 33.5 receiving yards. And Dak Prescott, over 245.5 passing yards. Those are your most bet on props, according to BetMGM. And I am fading one of these. I will tell you that in my edges of the night. I am fading one of these most bet on props. Most bet on players to score a touchdown. Saquon's minus 185. Jalen Hurts minus 150, thanks to the tush push. AJ Brown plus 165. CeeDee Lamb plus 140. And everyone's just taking a shot on Philly defense or special teams to score at 5-1. No surprise at all. That is your most bet on player props to score a touchdown. J-Man34 said he's going to fade Dak tonight and taking the under on his passing yards. Mark says FanDuel had either team to score one or more rushing touchdown, you mean? Or one or more rushing yard? Yeah, $10 max bet. Remember the days when FanDuel and DraftKings were new and they gave you those? I don't know if you guys remember this. This is when New York was fairly new. It was the NBA playoffs. They let us bet, I forget how much money. I think it was like $25 or $50. And it was one of those things where the more people we got to sign up or bet, buy in to the boost, the more money we got. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was a while ago, probably 6 years ago, when we were able to, I forget what it was called, but it was a really cool promo that FanDuel did where I was at SportsGrid at the time. I think it was like $50, and the more people we got to buy in, the more people that, the more people, anyway, I don't know. I'm just being crazy. $10 bet for $20 payout, Mark says. So go take it. Crush the over. So here's why I'm annoyed about the Jahan Dotson thing. I like him over 7.5 receiving yards. Look at his numbers against Dallas. This is dating back to 2022, I think it was. Yeah, 2022. He's averaging 35 receiving yards a game against the Cowboys. At home, averaging just over 16 yards a game, and on the road down to 7. Dallas allowed the 6th most receiving yards to wide receivers last year, 7.9 yards per attempt, which ranked 31st against receivers last year. And because obviously they're going to be so stuck on Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, obviously you're going to be left open with Jahan Dotson. I like it. I'm just now pissed that the public also likes it. So that freaking sucks. These are the Thursday Night Football props that caught my eye today. So I saw someone in the chat say Jake Ferguson, Lewis Creech. There you go. Jake Ferguson under 34.5. It actually was at 40.5 last I checked, which is kind of scary. So I was able to grab under 40.5. 50% profit boost on FanDuel. Jalen Hurts anytime TD in their bonus bets. Jackpot pool. Agreed. This is why I love the chat, by the way. I love the chat because we're all helping each other out with finding these promos. It is hard sometimes to keep track of where all the promos are. And Pikkit Sports actually does a great job of telling you where all the promos are. So you can subscribe to Pikkit Sports. It's free and it tells you where all of the promotions are. So go check that out. It is hard to keep track. And there are a lot of promotions today across all the sports books. So make sure to take advantage. What are the odds for the game to be delayed due to weather? I'm not the weatherman. I don't know. If there's lightning, sure. But we'll see. I hope it doesn't rain here in New York. Okay, prop queen props for Thursday Night Football, starting with Jake Ferguson under 40.5 receiving yards. Again, a little nervous because this was 34.5 this morning and now we're at 40.5, but I'm going to take the under on a better number, I guess. Ferguson last year against teams that were top 10 against tight ends went under in 5 of the 7 games that he faced those defenses. Last year against Philly, he had 3 catches for 18 yards and 4 catches for 24. The Eagles last year had the best defense in the league, limiting tight ends to just under 35 receiving yards a game. Only 32% of tight ends went over their receiving yards prop last year against Philly. Jake Ferguson under 40.5 receiving yards. And everybody remember, this is a divisional rivalry. So if we don't hit any of these props today, just remember, it likely means then whatever we bet today is going to happen in game 2. Just keep these props in mind. Whatever doesn't hit today is going to hit in game 2. It's always what happens. Courtney Harden says, it's only supposed to rain for an hour. Hurts over 18.5 completions, 3 out of 14 last season. Where is the bad weather coming from? Must have missed that this morning. The sun's going away fast. Okay, so Jahan Dotson, we talked about already. And then Jalen Hurts over his rushing yards. I feel like no one's really mentioning this today. 39.5. It was 40.5 before. So again, numbers not moving in my favor, but it's week 1. Crazy things happen. Hurts is averaging 50.5 rushing yards at home last year and 33.6 on the road. So it's a big drop off. Hurts likes to run the football a lot more at home. He rushed for 56 last time out against Dallas, and Dallas actually allowed the most rushing yards per game to quarterbacks last year. So if there's a way to take Jalen Hurts, and if it's supposed to not be great weather conditions, then maybe we run the football. Dallas doesn't really have anyone to clog up the middle anymore, Mike Parsons. So I think the Eagles, if they're smart in the first half, they try to attack. They try to attack inside and just try to feast on the part of the Dallas Cowboys defense that they're going to be most sad about. I love a longest reception prop. Love that. Love a longest reception prop. That's my Thursday night football action for tonight. And then, of course, my sharp friends are on the Cowboys. So we'll take that with what you want. Cowboys or Eagles Survivor or Eagles in a teaser. Yeah. So I guess everyone thinks this game could stay within 7, but the Eagles are going to win. We've got Major League Baseball. Pitcher props. Don't worry, I didn't forget about Major League Baseball today. We've got 3 different props for pitcher props today in Major League Baseball. Blake Snell pitching for the Dodgers tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're on the road in Pittsburgh. Game starts in about 50 minutes. Snell has only faced 2 high K rate lineups this year against lefties. He only had 2 strikeouts against Atlanta, but then 8 strikeouts in 5 innings on the road in Tampa. Lefties, out of the 28 lefties to start against Pittsburgh, 20 of them went over. 20 and 8 over under. 20 of the 28 went over their strikeout prop, averaging just under 6 strikeouts a game against the Pirates this year. Blake Snell, 6.5, minus 140. If you could still grab it, go get it. It went up to 7.5 in some spots, so 6.5 minus 140. Tampa's righty, Ryan Papio, over 15.5 outs. They're getting the Guardians in Tampa tonight. Papio went over 15.5 outs in 10 of 14 home games, averaging just under 18 outs per start. Papio's also hit 16 or more outs in 8 of his last 10 home games, going an average of just over 18 outs to start. 77% of righty starters to face Cleveland went over their outs prop, and starters, they're going about 18 to 19 outs per game against the Guardians this year. So Ryan Papio at home, over 15.5 outs. Astros righty, Christian Javier, over 4.5 Ks, minus 146, hefty juice. Javier's punched out at least 5 batters in 2 of his 3 home starts. He owns a 1.99 ERA through 5 starts against the Yanks, punched out 6 batters in his matchup against them last year. Right-handers averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game against New York, with 7 of the last 10, going over 4.5 Ks. So you could take a look there on those 3 different MLB pitcher props for tonight. And just because we have a little bit of time, Dallas has new coordinators. All props are, what are you talking about? So, because I was talking about last year. So, it's personnel. We're still talking personnel, dude. Just saying. There's not much else to go off of. Like, you have to go off a little bit of last year. You have to go off a little bit of what happened in the offseason. You got to go off personnel. I know coordinators are different. You got to go off what you could go off of. Like, what are you going to do? Just pull things out of thin air? You got to take some numbers. I'm not taking Snell over 7.5. I don't think so. I don't think I could do it. He's so all over. No one knows their game plan, but we gamble, so we try our best. Thank you, Courtney Harden. I appreciate that. Bonus play for tomorrow. Will Dissly. So keep an eye out for Will Dissly tomorrow. It's Chargers Chiefs, in case you live under a rock. Friday Night Football. Dissly over 15.5 receiving yards. So Dissly has cashed this over in all 3 games against Kansas City, dating back to 2022. Dissly is averaging just under 21 receiving yards a game in those spots. Last year, Dissly averaged 31 receiving yards a game. The Chiefs allowed the most receiving yards per game to tight ends, allowing 67% of tight ends to go over their receiving yards prop. So if you want a bonus bet for tomorrow, over 15.5 receiving yards for Will Dissly really stood out to me. Tomorrow, we're going to break down the entire Sunday card. We'll talk all things NFL Sunday. Do you guys want Major League Baseball tomorrow? I guess it's a Friday. Mid-Major Matt's going to come on to talk college football. If you want Major League Baseball, I could still do MLB. But if you guys only want NFL, we could just do NFL tomorrow. So I'll probably do some MLB for the newsletter, maybe just pitcher props. But it takes a lot of work. So if you guys don't really want MLB, then I could just focus more on NFL. You guys could let me know, I guess, before the end of the show. You know what it is. Actually, hold on. Speaking of MLB, let me see if there's any fishy lines in Major League Baseball to get to real quick, and then I'll get to Royal Locks. Do it live. So Dodgers Pirates, that was minus 124 last night. Minus 116 Dodgers. Slight movement against Blake Snell, so that's a little scary. I know it's Paul Skeens, though. So Paul Skeens was plus 106 last night, now minus 102. Let me see where the public action is. People are about backing the Dodgers. 72% of handle, 62% of money is, 72% of handle, 62% of bets is on the Dodgers. And the line moved minus 124 to minus 116. Not a huge move, but just letting you know. Oh, you know what? Let me just run this. Fishy lines. Okay, so, oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Didn't even boast about the Rays cash yesterday. Rays cash. Rays won the fishy line yesterday. Woo woo. Okay, so everybody really wants NFL tomorrow. Oh, EC Money says MLB. Oh, you guys are tearing me up. Okay, we'll see. I'll see how much energy I have tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk maybe a few pitcher props, but then mostly NFL. We'll go through the slate. And Mid-Major Matt's coming on tomorrow to talk college football. Guardians and Rays. So, yes, that line went from Rays minus 144 to minus 166. That looks good for my Pepio bet, which I should get down. Yankees minus 136 last night, stayed minus 136. Angels plus 132 last night, went to plus 128. The Royals were minus 156, minus 152. Not a big move. White Sox, Twins. The Twins were minus 152. Now they're minus 146. White Sox plus 128, now plus 124. Yeah, I guess I would say if I had to have a fishy line tonight, I would say to just be careful of the Dodgers and Pirates game. But it's Skeens, so I'm not surprised lines somewhat moved in favor of Skeens. But both, but obviously and above you gotta pick. No, I don't have to pick any. I'm just saying I will do MLB pitcher props tomorrow, and then we'll talk NFL like I did today. We just did MLB pitcher props and then NFL from there on. Yeah, we don't need to go through like the whole MLB spiel of hitter props and matchups to watch. Maybe I'll put that in the newsletter tomorrow. But overall, we'll just talk a different prop for NFL games. So basically the way that I do things in NFL is I take the teams that are top 10 and bottom 10 against every category. So top 10 against receiving yards allowed to running backs, top 10 in rushing yards allowed to running backs, top 10 in receiving yards to wide receivers. And then kind of like take the top 10 and bottom 10 of every prop category and go from there and see where all the edges are. So we will do a little MLB tomorrow, but mostly obviously just straight up NFL and college football with Mid-Major Matt. We'll make sure to have that. Mid-Major Matt's newsletter also is going out at 8 p.m. Eastern time on thepropqueen.com. So you could subscribe to his newsletter for like $5 and you could get all of Mid-Major Matt's college football betting analysis. Tonight's is going out at 8 p.m. for tomorrow's games because we have a bunch of games on Friday. And then he'll, of course, give the newsletter for Saturday as well. So Mid-Major Matt, if you don't have time to listen to him on the show or you don't have time to check out his info, all his college football stuff for $5 is in the newsletter. Now we've got my best bets of the day. We are going to Royal Locks. One NFL, one MLB. Actually, I'm now going to change. I hate that the public is on Jahan Dotson with me over 7.5 receiving yards. Deep breath, Ariel. Anyway, Jahan Dotson over 7.5 receiving yards. Dotson has really had a lot of success against Dallas, racking up 35 receiving yards a game against them since 2022, averaging 16 yards per game at home, dating back to last year. Dallas allowed the 6th most receiving yards per game to wide receivers last year. Jahan Dotson should be able to get open with all of those different receivers getting a lot of attention in Philly. So Dotson over 7.5 receiving yards. And then I'm going with Ryan Pepio over his outs prop tonight. Since he's done this in 10 of 14 home games, averaging just under 18 outs to start. Pepiot's also hit 16 or more outs in 8 of his last 10 home games, going about 18 outs a start. 77% of righty starters face Cleveland went over their outs prop, averaging 18 to 19 outs a game. We're going there. And I guess for Ferguson, we could take the under on his 40 and a half receiving yards. And we know this is what's going to happen. Obviously, I give you these best bets, and what's going to happen? The one that I left off the card was Jalen Hurts. Well, I bet it. I bet Jalen Hurts over his rushing yards, so I will blatantly tell you I bet over 39 and a half. I have it on Pikkit. You could follow me at Ariel Epstein on Pikkit Sports. I bet it. That's going to end up being the one that hits. That's going to be the one. Oh, anyway, thank you guys for all of your congratulations about joining The Ringer. I'm very excited. It will not interfere with the show. The Ringer is 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays, and I might fill in here and there on other shows for The Ringer. For this show, always 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time on the Prop Queen Pod, YouTube, X, Instagram, Twitch. Make sure to follow along. YouTube page, Prop Queen Sports. Make sure to check it out. Subscribe, like. It's free to do that. Just do it to give me some love, please. It helps a lot. The PropQueen.com newsletter. You can subscribe to get all this information right to your inbox every day. So, why do you say that daily? What? What did you say here? Why did you say that you hit lots of stuff daily? Why? Oh, because I am always glass half empty. Like, that's always me. I told you guys yesterday the Ravens are going to have a great regular season and lose again in the playoffs. It happens every time. So I'm just a sadistic sports fan who loves to be angry. Like, I'm very happy for people that enjoy being happy sports fans, but I feel like we're all sports fans because we just, for some reason, enjoy being angry. Anyway, guys, good luck with your bets tonight. Happy football season for the 80th time, but it is officially now football season because the NFL is going to be underway in a couple of hours. I'm going to go get a glass of wine. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, actually, I forgot. I have to go to a concert tomorrow, so I probably am doing the show 4 to 5 tomorrow instead of 5 to 6 or 3 to 4. Ooh, I have to figure that out. Okay, I will keep you guys posted on social media tomorrow about what time I could do the show tomorrow. I will let you know. Shoot, I forgot about that. Stupid concert. I have to take my, God, long story. You guys don't care. I'm complaining. Have a great night. Good luck to your bets.